All right, so get this Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, the Wall Street, like the OG big bank.
Mm-hmm.
They're holding almost $2 billion
Yeah.
in Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs.
It's pretty wild, right?
It's pretty wild. I mean,
When you think about it, just a few months ago,
yeah.
the CEO was saying, like, regulations were preventing them
Right.
from holding crypto.
Yeah. And it wasn't
That's changed.
that long ago,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I
it was
mean-
only in 2024 that the SEC finally approved these Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs.
Right, and that opened up a whole new avenue
Yeah.
for these institutional investors.
For anyone listening who needs like a little refresher,
sir.
ETFs,
Exchange-traded funds.
exchange-traded funds. Yeah, thanks.
You got it.
They're basically like buying a slice of a giant crypto pie.
That's a good way to put it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're invested in how the asset performs, but you don't actually own the coins themselves.
Right. You're not like going into like a digital wallet and like, pulling out your Bitcoin.
Exactly.
It's more you're investing in like a fund that is
Yeah.
backed by that asset.
A basket of these things, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so Goldman Sachs, they're not like
They're not messing around.
skipping a toe in here.
No, they're diving in head first.
Right.
The latest SEC filing shows they've got $1.63 billion in Bitcoin ETFs and another like almost $200 million
Wow.
in Ethereum ETFs.
That's serious money.
That's not play money.
No.
That is
What's the biggest piece of that pie?
so the biggest chunk of that is going into BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
You know it as IBIT.
IBIT, yeah.
And that's a really interesting choice because it shows they're going for a more established and regulated product,
Right.
which kind of goes back to what the CEO was talking about with the regulatory hurdles.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it seems like these ETFs being approved, like,
It was a game changer.
totally changed the game for them.
Yeah.
Why BlackRock specifically, though?
Well, I mean, it's the biggest.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the largest and it's the most liquid Bitcoin ETF.
Oh,
So it offers more stability
okay.
and less risk than some of the smaller ones.
Oh, so it's like less volatile.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it seems like they're really prioritizing that security and that regulatory compliance.
Okay, I get that, but wouldn't just a ton of money coming in,
I see what you're saying.
like from these big institutions, wouldn't that increase the volatility, even if it's like a well-established?
You would think so.
Yeah.
But the thing is that BlackRock fund is so big
Oh, right.
that it kind of acts as a buffer
Oh, okay.
against those huge price swings.
It's like a really big.
Imagine like a giant shift in choppy water.
Yeah.
It's not going to get tossed around by like little waves.
Right. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting to get their strategy here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to that statement from the CEO, though.
Okay.
He said,
Hmm.
at the moment, as a regulated banking institution, we're not allowed to own a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin as a principal.
Hmm.
But for the moment, our ability to act in these markets is extremely limited from a regulatory perspective.
Right.
What regulations was he talking about back then?
So back then you had a lot of different regulatory bodies.
Okay.
They were really concerned about the volatility of crypto.
Right.
They thought it was way too risky
Yeah.
for these traditional financial institutions to be holding it directly.
Too unstable.
Yeah, too unstable.
Yeah.
There were worries about money laundering,
Oh, yeah, of course.
security breaches,
Yeah, all the,
the scary stuff.
yeah, all the scary stuff, right?
Yeah.
So these ETFs, they kind of address those concerns.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because it provided a more regulated,
Yeah.
like familiar structure.
Right, more traditional, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that allowed these institutions to get into the crypto market.
Yeah.
But within a framework that meets those requirements.
So it's like a bridge between like the
Yeah.
Wild West of crypto and like
It's a bridge
Yeah.
between the old and the new.
very buttoned up world of
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it lets them kind of dip their toes in
right.
without, going completely rogue.
This is a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
people listening are probably thinking,
I would think so.
like, what does this mean for me?
Right.
Like, if Goldman Sachs is embracing crypto, does that change how I view it?
Yeah. Are they ahead of the curve?
Yeah.
Are they seeing something that we're not?
Right.
I think it's a signal
Yeah.
that the perception is shifting.
Yeah.
If Goldman Sachs, a company that's all about tradition,
Right.
risk averse,
Yeah.
they're seeing value in crypto,
Yeah.
that raises some big questions.
Yeah. Like, is everyone going to start doing this?
Is this the beginning of a flood
Yeah.
of institutional money coming into crypto?
Yeah.
And if so, what happens then?
what happens to the whole financial system?
What does that do to the world?
Right.
Yeah.
That's where things get interesting.
That's where it gets really juicy.
But before we go there,
Yeah.
let's dig into these specific ETFs that
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs is holding.
So we've got the iShares Bitcoin Trust.
Mm-hmm.
They've also invested in the Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's FBTC.
FBTC.
Okay. And they've even got a little bit in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust,
Oh, yeah.
which is GBTC.
I've heard of that one too.
Yeah.
Why diversify across all these different ETFs?
Well, I mean, think about it this way. It's
Yeah.
like they're managing risk.
Okay.
You know, maybe they're trying to capitalize on different features
Oh, okay.
of each of these ETFs.
Okay.
For example, that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust.
Yeah.
You know, it's had some regulatory challenges,
Right.
but it's been around for a while.
Right. It's got a longer track record.
Yeah, it's got a different fee structure
Interesting.
than the newer ETFs.
So they're kind of hedging their bets a little bit.
Yeah, they're playing the field,
Okay.
you know.
Trying out different things.
Yeah, seeing what works,
Yeah.
exploring their options.
Okay. And what about their Ethereum holdings?
So with Ethereum,
Yeah.
they've mostly gone with the Fidelity Ethereum Fund.
Okay.
That's F.
F, got it.
And then a tiny little bit in the Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust ETF.
Okay, so not just Bitcoin.
No, they're not putting all their eggs in one
It's
basket.
spreading the love
Exactly.
to Ethereum as well.
Yeah, I think that's another signal that
Yeah.
they're taking this long-term strategic approach.
Right.
You know, they're not just like, oh, Bitcoin's hot, let's throw all our money in it.
Right. They're really thinking about
They're
it.
like, okay, we see potential in both of these.
Yeah.
These are the big players.
Okay, I'm starting to see the big picture here.
Yeah.
This isn't just a quick little gamble.
No, it's not a fling.
This is like they're
It's a
really,
long-term relationship.
they're here to stay.
They're setting up shop.
They're setting up shop,
Yeah.
but what does it all mean for us regular folks?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll get to that next time.
We'll have to unpack that.
On the next part,
Of our deep dive.
stay tuned. So we just finished talking about how Goldman Sachs is jumping into the crypto ETF game headfirst.
Yeah, really diving in.
And now I want to know, like, what are the ripple effects of this?
Yeah, what happens now?
Yeah, like, what does this mean for the rest of the world?
I mean, it's a big deal.
It is.
Like Goldman Sachs,
It's trendsetters.
yeah, they kind of set the tone for the whole financial world.
Right, so is this going to, like, change how Wall Street thinks about crypto?
I think it could.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that might happen is like a surge in crypto prices.
Okay, why is that?
Well, you've got all these other institutions watching Goldman Sachs.
Mm-hmm.
If they start following their lead,
Yeah.
demand for Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to go way up.
Oh, okay, supply and demand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that usually means higher prices.
Okay, but doesn't that also mean more volatility?
It could.
Yeah, I mean, like, isn't that going to make crypto even more of a roller coaster?
Well, it's true that larger players can move the market,
Yeah.
but there's also a chance that it could actually bring more stability over time.
Wait, really? How does that work?
So right now, the crypto market is kind of like the Wild West.
Okay.
It's dominated by retail investors.
Okay, us little guys.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we tend to react more emotionally.
Oh, yeah, FOMO for sure.
Exactly. We get scared, we sell, we get excited, we buy,
Right.
and that causes those big price swings.
No, okay, so institutions are more like,
They're more strategic. They're thinking long term.
right, they've got a plan.
They're not going to panic sell just because there's a little dip.
So they're like the adults in the room.
Pretty much.
Okay, so they could actually smooth out the ride a little bit.
That's the idea.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
It definitely challenges the traditional thinking.
It does.
But I think the big takeaway is that Goldman Sachs is shining a spotlight on crypto,
Yeah.
and that could lead to way more people using it.
Mainstream adoption.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's where things get really interesting for everyday people.
Yeah, like how...
Think about how you interact with your bank right now.
Okay.
That could change a lot.
In what way?
We might start seeing banks offering crypto accounts
Oh, so I could just like hold my Bitcoin in my bank.
right alongside your checking and savings.
Wow, that would make it so much easier.
Yeah, no more messing around with different exchanges and wallets.
And then what, like I could pay for stuff with crypto.
Exactly. Imagine paying for your coffee with Bitcoin
Wow.
or sending money to your friends instantly
So it's like cheaper and faster.
and more transparent.
That would be amazing for like sending money overseas.
Absolutely. Those international transfers are such a pain.
Yeah, it takes forever and it costs so much.
Blockchain could solve all that.
Okay, but hold on a second. Didn't the CEO of Goldman Sachs literally say he was worried about regulations?
He did.
Like just a few months ago?
Yep.
So how does that make sense with all of this?
Well, it's a good question.
Yeah.
And while there are Definitely still some regulatory question marks.
Hmm.
I think this move by Goldman Sachs could actually push things in the right direction.
How so?
By investing so much money, they're basically saying to regulators,
We're serious about this.
yeah, we need clear rules.
All right.
We need a framework that works for us.
So they're kind of forcing the government's hand a little bit.
In a way, yes.
Wow.
And that could lead to faster development of regulations.
Okay. But are regulations really a good thing?
Well, they can be,
Oh, okay.
if they're done right.
Yeah.
They can create a more stable and transparent market,
Mm-hmm.
which makes everyone feel more comfortable.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about protecting investors.
It's about creating an environment where everyone can thrive.
Right. So far, we've been pretty optimistic about this. But are there any downsides we should be thinking about?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, with any big shift, there are always risks.
Like what?
Well, one thing that worries me is market manipulation.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, these big players have a lot of power.
Right.
They could try to influence prices in a way that benefits them.
And hurts the little guy.
Exactly.
So what can we do about that?
That's where regulations come in.
Okay.
We need strong rules and good oversight.
Keeps things...
Exactly, a level playing field for everyone.
Because a level playing field for everyone.
So it's all about finding the right balance.
It is a delicate dance.
Yeah.
But it's a dance that regulators all over the world are trying to figure out right now.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a minute.
Okay.
What does all of this mean for the future of finance?
I think we're seeing the beginning of a merger.
A merger.
Yeah, between traditional finance and the crypto world.
The lines are getting blurry.
Exactly. The old rules don't apply anymore.
That's kind of exciting,
It is.
but also kind of scary.
It's both.
It's a whole new world.
So before we move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
what's like one big question we should be thinking about?
Okay, think about this.
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs is a company that's steeped in tradition.
Right.
They're the definition of old school finance.
Yeah.
If they're embracing crypto, what does that tell you about the future of this technology?
That's a good question.
It is.
And one that I'm sure we'll be talking about a lot more in the coming years.
Absolutely. This is just the beginning.
All right, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Goldman Sachs and this whole crypto world.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has. I mean, we've talked about market disruption, institutional investors jumping in,
Yeah.
and even hinted at a future where traditional finance and crypto are like totally intertwined.
Yeah, they're practically holding hands at this point.
Right. So let's really like dive into that future. What does it look like?
Well, I think it's a future where financial transactions are just so much smoother. Like, they're faster, more transparent, and anyone can access them.
So this is bigger than just like buying and selling Bitcoin?
Way bigger. This is about like a total rethink of how we view money and the entire financial system.
Because cryptocurrencies are just like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, they're like the first little peak.
Okay, so give me some examples. Like, how would this actually play out in my life?
Okay, remember those international wire transfers?
Oh, yeah, those are the worst.
Like waiting forever for your money to arrive?
Yeah, and paying a ton of fees.
With blockchain, that could all be gone.
Really?
Instantaneous transfers across borders for like pennies.
No more stressing about where my money is.
Exactly.
I like the sound of this future.
And that's just the beginning.
Okay, there's more.
Oh, yeah. Think about owning a piece of a famous painting.
Like a Van Gogh or something.
Exactly, even if you don't have millions to spend.
Wait, how is that possible?
Fractional ownership, it's going to be huge.
So I could own like a tiny slice of a masterpiece.
Yep, or a skyscraper or a racehorse.
So anyone can be an investor.
Exactly, democratizes the whole thing.
That's pretty cool. And what about this DeFi thing I keep hearing about?
Decentralized finance,
Yeah.
It's already shaking things up.
So it's like cutting out the middleman.
Exactly, no more banks, no more brokers.
Isn't that a little risky?
It can be, but it also means lower costs and more control.
And it's all run by like computers.
Well, smart contracts, basically automated agreements.
So it's like more efficient, but maybe less human.
There are trade-offs, for sure.
Okay, so faster payments, more investment opportunities, a more efficient system. This is starting to feel real.
And Goldman Sachs putting their money where their mouth is just adds to that.
Right, they're not the only ones, are they?
Oh, no other big institutions are sniffing around, too.
But let's be honest, there are still some challenges ahead, right?
Definitely, we can't ignore those.
Like what?
Well, we've got regulatory uncertainty. We need to figure out how to prevent market manipulation and make sure consumers are protected.
Yeah, those are some big hurdles.
They are, but they're not insurmountable.
So it feels like we're at a turning point.
We are. It's a really exciting time.
It is. There's so much potential, but also a lot of risk.
Exactly. So what's the most important thing for our listeners to remember?
Yeah, like what should they take away from all of this?
I think the key is to stay informed and stay curious.
Don't bury your head in the sand.
No, this is the future of finance being written right now.
And we all have a role to play.
Exactly. Your decisions matter, whether you're an investor or just a regular person.
So pay attention, folks.
It's going to affect all of us.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive.
It has. I've really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thanks for walking us through it.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, we hope you've learned something new and exciting about the world of crypto and the future of finance. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.